got one question. I need to know, do revolutionaries go to heaven? And if so, may their legacies last forever and their seeds grow. Tell them that we love them so and never let them die slow. It's like we cursed to be born black. We was kings and queens, now look where we at. I know it won't be long before we take it back. I just hope I live long enough to see it happen, and that's a fact. Cause one thing, when you pro-black, you might love your people, but they may not love you back. For more than 400 years, we've been under attack. We survived slavery and then they gave us crack. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? 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 I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope My mind runs 1,000,000 miles per hour. They can't stop me, they ain't got the power. If they put me in the ground, I still rise like a flower, higher than the Eiffel Tower. Ancestors give me power to devour each and every enemy and every doubt. This for Fred Hampton, Mark Clark, Martin Luther King, and Rosa Parks, Bob Marley, and Peter Tosh, and all the slaves who had to run away in the dark. You in my heart. This for the lost martyrs, the Omar Majeeds and Bunchy Carters, and all the comrades that's locked away on false charges, and all the soldiers that fought regardless, and those who died in the freedom rides and long marches. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? 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 I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I wanna know. Do revolutionaries go to heaven? I hope so.
What a way to start the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition, to another installment of Hashtag Faith to Black. I am your host, Donna Alamonte Moores, here with Ania Joe, a.k.a. Teach, and Beast Johnson. And also we're joined by a special guest, which I will give the floor to Teach to introduce.
Karibu! Name it down. Today, I have the honor to introduce the one and only Taye Uhuru. As we witnessed in his video, he is a dynamic, up-and-coming hip-hop artist. And I have to say, every line of your lyrics spoke to me. And I love it, and I pray much success. But let me tell you a little bit about this historian, archivist, genealogist, a student of middle childhood education, and an independent hip-hop artist. He has visited over 45 states and 60 countries. He has recorded and performed with musicians in the Netherlands, South Africa, Senegal, and several other countries. During his travels, he studied at the Dominican Republic University, Iberoamericana. While in the Dominican Republic, he studied Caribbean diseases Dominican history and culture. He has also volunteered at Ama Atu Primo Orphanage, La Mina and Central El Cafe community centers. He also studied at Brazil at the Universidade do Sul de Santa Catarina. He studied Portuguese, Brazilian history, and capoeira. Taye has also dedicated several years to working with people who have developmental disabilities and tutoring children. He's also participated in many fundraisers, food drives, and back to school giveaways for people in need in Cleveland, Haiti, Philippines, Cape Verde, and other countries. In his downtime, he likes to spend time with his family, studying different cultures, learning foreign languages, trying new foods, reading books, gardening, and of course, he writes music. We just saw his video, Do Revolutionaries Go to Heaven? They are on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce to you Taye Uhuru. Welcome to Fade to Black.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
But Taye, there's a tradition that we do on the show, which I'm gonna leave the floor to Beast Johnson.
On behalf of our African panelists, we do this as a greeting of brotherhood. I'll give the chant, and after I give the chant, your response is simple. Hey! You ready? Been lots of that do this.
Yeah.
Imani Wado!
Hey! Yes, ladies and gentlemen. So now you've officially been welcome on this show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. You
Yes.
got a pretty long resume, sir, but we're going to save that after
You're
these
a man of many hustles.
yes. And not to mention, Beast Johnson is an independent artist himself, so he probably gonna have a lot of questions. So maybe a collabo, you know, just putting
sure.
that, just peeking that in there, you know. Let's jump into our opening statements. But as a guest, you will give first dibs on opening statement. It could be more about you or anything that you want to get off your chest. But as a guest, to continue on the tradition, you will be first. And with that, this opening statement and the whole entire show is going to be sponsored by Real Cheddar Boy Popcorn. So let's go ahead and let's get it in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited about tonight. So let's go.
Oh, okay. Can they hear me? All right. First and foremost, I just want to thank y'all so much for allowing me, to come on y'all platform. I truly appreciate y'all. I like what y'all doing. The show is amazing. As an opening statement, I just want to shout out all the Black people that's watching all around the world. Let them know that they beautiful, they strong, keep fighting, never give up. And, I love y'all,
Well, for me is I realized, I hope I'm not throwing Teach on the bus or anything like that. I knew she was having little technical difficulties with the green screen. So I just want to let Teach know I'm having some technical difficulties too, because I forgot that this shirt was green right here. Got the Omega shirt up on there. I'm not part of no, Kenny Omega. So yeah. So don't worry. I'm having some technical difficulties over here too. My opening statement was going to be something serious, but I also had this thought: the cookout. Now, y'all all know about this thing about, she's invited to the cookout. That person invited to the cookout. No, that person not invited to the cookout. But the real question should be, what are you bringing to the cookout? We can invite as many people as we want, but I want to know what you're bringing to the cookout. I don't care if you bring something that's not just for you, but for everybody. And I mean this. Bring some chicken. Bring some bagged potato chips. Bring some utensils. Bring some cups. It should be, if you're coming, what are you bringing? Because you got a lot of people that also watch what you bring too as well. Because you got some people that bring stuff to a cookout that be nasty as hell. You know that Aunt Joyce? Yep, that Aunt Joyce that bring that nasty potato salad, all that raisins up in them, or put some type of season that you don't even know, or any season at all, and people just being nice. I'm happy that you brought this. No, nobody ain't gonna touch it. So my thing is this. If we're gonna start inviting people to the cookout, we need to know what they bring. And if they're bringing some, make sure that they know that they cooked it right. And it's all right if you let them know on Jump Street that this apple pie is nasty. Last time your apple pie gave everybody squats. That these biscuits are so hard that the kids was playing with them and just thought they were sitting there playing hockey with them. So please, disclaimer, when you invite people to a cookout, make sure they bring something and make sure they just didn't just put things together. Just a food for thought, literally food for thought.
Good evening. For my opening statement, I want to talk about necessary evil. In this land and era of cancel culture and oversensitivity, we have forgotten the true necessity of necessary evil. And that's basically anything that is perceived or deemed unfit when done in excess. Such as, there's nothing wrong with some horse playing, but it can lead to something else. So you don't horseplay. Well, it's kind of a necessary evil for kids at times. Get that energy out in a nice, positive fashion. And then you know what happens when you get hurt. Point being, we shouldn't automatically assume that everything needs to be canceled. Some things just need to be tempered, controlled, have guidelines and regulations set in place to ensure that it doesn't get to a point where it would be perceivably deemed cancelable. Because things like constructive criticism, no matter how you view it or perceive it, that's a necessary evil. Like Donnell said, Aunt Joyce, you need to do better next time with that apple pie, because last time it ain't sit right in people's stomachs. A lot of toilet paper got wasted that night. Now, if she didn't hear that type of criticism, she'd kept making it as is, and possibly to kill somebody. Let's think about on the historical platform. Every invention, every creation that has been deemed created by man wasn't successful on the first go around. I'm pretty sure it took them a while, a couple tries, a lot of failure before they got a functional, successful product that we now know is commonplace. I'm pretty sure some people told them we need to do better or that ain't working. Now, if they lived in an era where people felt overly sensitive and worried about how people might perceive and feel about things and not give them the necessary information in the necessary manner to ensure that their success is possible, you have a lot of failures. You have a lot of wishing and excuses because, well, dude, no. It's because nobody told your ass from Jump Street that this needed to be done better or you needed to switch it up. And now you're in a situation where shoulda, coulda, wouldas is candy flavored bullets. Sound good in theory, but ain't doing that for nobody. So let's really take the time to assess these claims of cancel this or stop doing this, because some things just need to be, like I said before, tailored and tempered. Because the benefit and positivity that comes from it is overall better in the long run. And with that, I yield.
Nangadef, Manga Free. My opening statement deals with life. And I simply want to know, are you living your best life? What does that mean? How do you incorporate those words into manifestation? Are you where you want to be? Or are you in a place of wanting, in a place of waiting, in a place of desiring, which is like stagnant water? If you want, that means you do not have. If you desire, it means it's out of reach. If you wait, that means you have stopped. You're not functioning. You have to be in a state of being. You have to be on the road to your journey, gaining experiences, life experiences that help shape and mold your character and help you to your destiny. I always say life is for the living, because when you are dead, you live no more. So live your best life. Understand how to manifest the best of your personality, the gifts and talents that was imbued upon you from your ancestors. Make your ancestors smile. Smile at the sun, because each time the sun rises, it brings gifts of life to you. And that's my opening statement.
And with that, we are back. Some great opening statements there for everybody. Once again, Real Boy Popcorn is sponsoring this whole entire show. The only black popcorn out here in Washington. You can also go visit their website, which hopefully I can find. There we go. Go ahead with 12 different flavors. Check them out, realchairboypopcorn.com. So, the man of the hour. I just want to ask this question first from the start.
As a fellow artist,
I'll get ready to say it. Then another fellow independent artist, Beast Johnson. I know he got a lot of questions.
I tip my hat to you on that song and that visual.
Right.
Thank you so much. Thank
you. So what was your drive of you got a very scholarly background. You studied the Caribbean diseases, and I guarantee you probably did not have a mindset, or maybe if I'm wrong, had a mindset of being an independent artist. So my question is, if that was the case, what put you to that path of doing what you're doing right now?
I mean, a lot of things just started with my childhood, my family's history. My family had a strong history of Black nationalism and cooperative economics and different things like that. So at an early age, I was able to, tap into a lot of that. So the history and the social, aspects of it influenced me. My grandmother, she told me about her father. He was a follower of Marcus Garvey. He joined the local UNIA. They came from the South, but they was a part of that great migration, so she told me about the parades and the raising of the red, black, and green flag. And also my uncle, which is her son, he started his own Black Power organization in the 1960s, and they was at the forefront of introducing that African culture and pride and music and fashion, and everything else like that.
Okay. All right. Anybody? Floor is open for anybody for questions.
Well, I wanted to go back to the place of the historian. What intrigues you about history, and what is your specialization?
I've always been, intrigued by African history and Black history. Like I stated, my grandmother, my great grandfather, my uncle. It's something that runs in the family. So I always admired African people and African history and things like that. My mom, she gave me my first, Black history book, A to Z. That's something that I cherished. Um, my main focus would be the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement of the 1960s. That's what my book is about. I've interviewed over 100 people. I did a lot of research. I have a lot of documents, video footage, and things like that. So I could tell you a lot about my uncle's organization specifically. I'm the first person to write a book about his group. The name of the book is called The Afro Set, and that was the organization's name. So in the 1960s, Malcolm X, he popularized the term Afro-American. So Afro was short for African. And, like I said, my uncle's group, they was at the forefront of bringing positive, inspirational African history, African art, African culture, African music, African religion and spirituality, and African language as well. They learned Swahili, they changed the name to African names and different things like that. So my book entails the rise and the fall of this organization based on the accounts of people that was there.
Okay, and we do have the cover of his book. Can we put that on the screen, please?
Yes, we can. But while we doing that, while we doing that, Beast, you have a question for him while we getting this?
I do. I guess as an artist, I find that everybody has a specific reason or some kind of end goal for their music. Some kind of message or things they want to convey.
That's the tour, the book.
Yeah, that's the tour right there. Okay. The question I have for you is like, what do you hope to gain as a result of people hearing your music and your message? Just saying everybody in the world hears you by the end of next week. The entire world knows your name and knows your catalog. Like, what do you hope, if anything, to trigger or get a response out of people listening to your music?
In terms of the listeners, I would definitely hope that they would, tap into the message that I'm trying to relay, uplifting Black people, letting them know Black people are beautiful, Black people are strong, letting them know we have a strong history, just a lot of Black excellence. That's what I want people to take away from it. And that's why I have the videos, the visuals, so they can see, parts of the world where Black people are. I got videos in Brazil, videos in Africa, videos in different places around the world, and they can get a, like a breath of fresh air from the things that we hear on the radio. We can listen to songs about us selling drugs. We can listen to songs about us killing each other. We can listen to songs about how beautiful we are, how smart we are, and, all of the great things that we have done.
Yes, as a young man, I appreciate all that you're doing in terms of being aware of the power of your video and your book. The message that you want to send to your peers is a far different message that you can just find on the average station. So I applaud you for your efforts in being one to be that beacon of light, because we need the youth to take the lead in terms of helping our people grow within themselves, within their communities and their greater communities as a people. So definitely we appreciate that. And Darnell, there's one other, his book cover is like two pictures, front to back. That's it. This is the book cover, correct?
Yes, The Afro Set, that's the name of my book.
Okay. And who is the gentleman in the, I guess that would be the back cover? Is
Oh,
he
okay.
significant, or is
Yeah.
it just a random picture?
That's a picture of my uncle. He was the Minister of Information of the Afro Set. He co-founded the Afro Set in 1967. He was the Minister of Information, so he was responsible for the photography. You know, back then they didn't have digital cameras, so he had to build a dark room and develop the pictures, you know, one by one. He was also the editor of their newspaper. He was a poet, you know, he was a playwright, he was a musician. He played a very significant role in the city of Cleveland's history. You know, he was a very important and powerful person.
All right. And what is your uncle's name?
Oh, that's my Uncle Buster.
Okay.
I have not heard that name in a hot minute. I have not.
That's a true uncle. That's a
That
true
is
uncle.
true,
Right.
uncle. That's true, uncle. I thought I only heard that name in the military. You know, Buster, Private Buster.
Well, we
If-
definitely, I definitely would be interested in getting a copy of your book. How would I get a copy of your book?
Oh, okay. My book, I'm doing it independently, so I have a website, and anybody that's interested in the book or my music or my travels or any information is campcleveland.org, campcleveland.org.
Cleveland, as in the Camp Cleveland, as the city, correct?
Yeah, CAMP Cleveland.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna. The reason why I asked is because I want to put that in the at the bottom on here, and also push it out on our page too as well. So because that
Thank
was
you,
going to be
thank
my question, but you know, Teach, she was like, I'm going ahead and ask first, which I appreciate that, Teach. So campcleveland.org, which I will have at the bottom as well. So for this book, what was the motivations for you publishing this book? What was the driving force behind it?
Well, initially, I didn't set out to write a book. I was just doing a lot of research on my family's history. I'm into genealogy and history and things like that. So I wanted to know about everyone and what they were doing. And then when I got to my uncle, I noticed that he had accomplished a significant amount of things. You know, my mom, she had told me about him growing up, but at this point, I was able to actually research these things and verify these things through, you know, looking through archives and going to different universities and reading old newspaper articles. And he was on the front page a few times for different things that he was doing. And probably after about 5 years of doing that, you know, I got a chance to sit down with some of his comrades, some of his friends, you know, and they told me a little bit more about him through their experiences. And they recommended that I should write a book about him and the organization because no one has ever written a book about them from the rise and the fall of the organization. So, you know, it was more than an honor to, you know, take on that task.
And to me, that's crazy because when you finally like blow the dust off of history and you kind of feel robbed. I don't know, I can say this for the rest of my panel, but I feel robbed when you do not hear that part of history or this group that contribute to the community that you hear nothing about. Where you just only hear, you know, the Black Panther, which is all good, but do you realize there was other organizations like the Black Panther that was also putting in the work too as well? Like I like to, you know, put them in categories of like in a deep, deep south of Deacons for Defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I never knew that those brothers who was actually prior military put their experience to use, and they also was the bodyguards for many of the civil rights protests and marches. History that you really had to dig up to be like, oh, okay, I honestly didn't know that. So I know you was feeling like, did you felt like it was history that was you was happy to find, but you felt like you was robbed in school, or not even just school, but just like going around your own people,
Just
and they don't even know anything about it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was bittersweet. I mean, I was excited, I was proud, I was happy to find about all these things that my uncle and his organization was doing, and people that were fighting in Cleveland in general, during the 1960s. A lot of this information is not, common knowledge. So, but I was upset to find out, that all of this information was buried and nobody had ever told this story. But it was a blessing for me because I have the opportunity to, promote my uncle's life and his history and the city of Cleveland's history as well. So hopefully from this day forward, the Afro set will be mentioned, like, groups like the Black Panthers, or, we hear about cities like what happened in Harlem or what happened in Watts or Detroit. And hopefully Cleveland would be in that conversation because some of the things that they did were groundbreaking, and they took place on a national level. My uncle, he went to California. He worked with the Panthers. He went to New Jersey and worked with Amiri Baraka. They went to Chicago and Detroit. And, they went down south too. They went to Virginia, West Virginia, and different places.
Mm. And just to speak on Beast's dog, a hit dog will holler. So I just wanted to push that out there. But
Always.
that's amazing that your uncle was, he went to different cities and all that stuff. But also speaking about Cleveland, I didn't know Cleveland was kind of a powder keg for racism, to tell you the truth. Could you elaborate more on Cleveland? Because when people hear Cleveland, you think of actually think of three things. You think of the Cleveland Browns, you think about the freaking Cavaliers, and then three, you think about LeBron James. So,
well, is it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland?
Yeah, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Football Hall of Fame too.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I knew there was at least one Hall of Fame over there.
Right. Because those are the only things we didn't think about Cleveland, but people don't understand that Cleveland was very divided. Could you elaborate and help people understand that Cleveland was a hotbed of racism?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of famous people and strong people have made it up out of Cleveland, but it's definitely been a struggle. Cleveland is a very, very, very segregated city. It still is to this day. So basically, during the first Great Migration, a lot of African Americans was living at the South at the time. Up into the 1920s, 90% of us lived in the South. So when the World War I happened, a lot of the factory jobs were open because the white men, they were all fighting the war, and the white immigrants weren't really coming in. So America was dependent on that labor of black people, once again. So like even with my family, they moved up to the north for a better life, and they were taken aback because it was just as racist and just as segregated as the South. They had redlining, white flight, just a lot of little different things that prohibited them from growing. You hear about Tulsa and Red Summer and a lot of things that happened. So when the blacks moved up north, their communities were destroyed and burnt down, and they wanted to do was make money and go to school and different things like that. So the civil rights movement emerged in the 1960s, and the blacks in Cleveland were doing the same thing that blacks were doing all around the country, trying to integrate the schools, integrate the jobs. And they were doing this peacefully. You know what I'm saying? They were getting beat up, they were getting shot, they were getting killed, they were coming up missing. So at this point, things began to change. And, we had a lot of riots and different things at Watts in Detroit. And Cleveland had one of the worst riots, you know what I'm saying? A lot of police officers at that time, I think it was the most police that ever had gotten killed during a civil unrest or riot or rebellion or what have you. And my uncle and his organization, they was at the forefront of defending yourself. Now we're gonna fight back. So they did military drills. They trained with the rifles. They trained with the machetes. They trained with the sticks. And different things like that. But they were a peaceful organization. But they were about self-defense. They were about community policing. So since we can't integrate, now we want our own schools. We want our own hospitals. We want our own jobs, our own companies. We'll educate our kids ourselves. So they opened up shops, and then they started teaching things like economics, health and wellness, diabetes, and sickle cell. They worked with the Panthers. They helped the Panthers build a clinic in the city of Cleveland. They donated money. They donated soldiers to help them fix it up and paint it and clean it out and things like that. They taught Swahili language. They opened up a theater. They did plays, poetry readings, musical performances, fashion shows. They had social programs, free breakfast, free lunch. you know, they opened up a nursery. So it's like at this point, Cleveland, black people in Cleveland are trying to be independent of whites, you know, stand on their own 2 feet. But
Wow, that's amazing. Hopefully, I'm not stealing the floor with asking you questions. If anybody want to ask some questions, you know, floor is open because I got another one. So, but I want to hog the floor.
I just want to say that Taye, one of our mottos on this show is controlling the narrative. And what I see so far in your life, you're able to control the narrative. You are digging up that history that has long been unseen, and you're giving it a stage, you're giving it a platform for everyone to have an opportunity to get a taste of that unlearned history. And this is what we're about. Controlling the narrative. We have to talk about what we have done. We cannot wait for other races or other people or the societies to decide to write our history. We, I, you, them have to take control of the narrative. And I congratulate you for understanding your family's history and finding the motivation. I'm quite sure it was your ancestors that kicked it into gear to get this into print, to get it into a format that individuals that long after you know, you go meet your ancestors, they still can pick up a copy and read and understand the history of your family and Cleveland and how they touched people's lives and made a difference in the community. I'm really excited. I am going to order this book because I am a historian and I also teach African American history, but my specialization is culture and the arts. But nevertheless, we do delve into the civil rights history. And when I listen to you, I hear the story of a man who had a passion that wanted to uplift his people, but at the same time, his people did not want to uplift him. And that sentiment is found in your video. So I can see how you're utilizing multiple platforms, multiple forms of art to bring forth your message. So again, I just congratulate you because this is one more book that I may even put it on my reading list or suggested reading list for my students in African American History Part 2. So definitely I may order a few copies so I can make them available for my students for next fall. And I'm going to give you this guarantee. Absolutely, this book will be on my suggested reading list for fall 2021.
Wow.
wow, thank you so
Wow,
much. I
that's
truly appreciate that. Thank you, Queen.
Welcome to academia, sir.
I just want to chime in real quick. Just hearing that just remind me of Fred Hampton. They just recently did a movie about his life. I wouldn't be surprised if your uncle actually met Fred Hampton or actually worked alongside him, because to me, your uncle sound like a Fred Hampton to Cleveland, because all the things that you just said about him and what he did for Cleveland is similar to what Fred Hampton did. And I'm like, whoa, I was like, man, this sounds like another movie in the making, but this time it's happening in Cleveland. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same tactics that police force, the FBI did with Fred Hampton probably happened to your uncle.
COINTELPRO.
Yeah. So did any of that, did he get harassed by the police or by the feds that you know of?
Yeah, definitely. They were under heavy surveillance. I was able to access some of the Freedom of Information files, but a lot of the files in terms of the Afro set are still being held, you know. So legally, you know, they can't deny you the files, but they can hold on to them for a while. They could tell you, okay,
Has it been
you
fully
ordered these files.
declassified?
Yeah, yeah. So it may take a while because they got to read them and scratch names out and do this. So if you order some files a day, you might not get them for 20 years or 10 years or whenever they feel like giving them to you. So, you know, so.
Basically, just take
Yeah.
your money. Wow, that's
Yeah.
Well, what they
Well, you know, the
do,
government got their rule anyway. It's about 50. They have, from the time they do it, they have 50 years before they legally have to tell the public. That's why we're finding out about stuff that happened back in the 60s and the 50s. It's like, oh, they was really doing that then? It's like, yeah, because it was declassified. Like, it's not redacted. They're telling you the full truth. It's just everybody involved with it is dead now. So they can talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But go ahead, teach.
yeah, I was going to say that if you remember when we did my mind is going 500 miles a minute. When we did that segment on COINTELPRO and the Black Panther Party, they had the documents that had been redacted. And if you remember in class, I showed you the whole volume where just lines and lines and lines and lines and lines had been blacked out. So your document was basically worthless because they blacked out all of the pertinent information. So yeah, it's just a political game that they play. Oh yes, you can have the information, and what do you get? You get white pages with black lines on it. So it's it's just a political game that they play. But again, I applaud you for uncovering this history and writing about it, and I hope that others will write about it too, that people can look back at this place and time and understand what was happening in Cleveland through your writings at that time, what was happening in our country. But my question comes to 2021. Where are the groups like the Afro Set? Where are the men like Uncle Buster? Where are they right now? Where are they right now?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I mean, I think a lot of fear is a major factor. You know what I'm saying? People not really signing up to be leaders like that because they seen things like COINTELPRO. It's almost certain death or prison. You know what I'm saying? For anybody, a strong black man that comes out and say, "I'm going to fight for black people," you know, that's a dangerous job. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people.
Also, too, I think it's a part of reform as well. Like for those that still want to do it, like they acknowledge that I can't be bold with it, or they're definitely going to pick me off. So now I gotta find new ways and avenues and formats in order to get that message out there.
But if you are afraid to live, you're afraid to die.
Okay.
And you're
I won't
afraid
say
to
I
die,
won't say it's
you're
a
afraid
person.
to live.
I won't say it's a person
Because
because see, this is how they get you. It's not the fact that like me personally, I'm not afraid to die for what I believe in. How they gonna get me and people like me? Okay, we're gonna come for your family. We're gonna find the closest people to you, and we'll take them. And usually, when people make that move, it's very hard for you to really stand on your personal laurels when someone you care or someone innocent is caught in the crosshairs. That's how they try to get a lot of folk. They won't. So it's like that's why I say like it's that if I publicly put it out there, then it's not really me I'm worrying about. It's everyone attached to me.
and it comes down to this, and I'm not gonna, well, maybe I am. I'm gonna be nice. It comes down to this. When you think about what you have to lose, it becomes a barrier to you.
Agreed.
When you think that you have nothing to lose, you can stand up in all of your boldness and go forth and be an Uncle Buster, be a Fred Hammond, a Huey a John Lewis. But if you count what you might miss out on, what you might lose, you count yourself as a loser. And it's just that simple.
I agree, but I think we all can agree on this. Being black is already enough of a job anyway. We already got targets on our backs. I mean, just us going below the speed limit is targets and grounds for getting pulled over. So that one right there, we can agree on. So the book is called The Afro Set. You can get it on capcleveland.org. Once again, at capcleveland.org. I will have that show in the middle of the show. I want everybody to get back to their corners. We also will be right back, and we go talk more about his musical side and talk more what inspired him to do music. We also will be right back.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself.
Melanated goddess, a title that fits you but still is modest. I'm just being honest. You gave me life, I'm still astonished. To submit, I promise. Every day I must pay homage. Give me strength and knowledge to help me break this European bondage. Queen, forgive us for the times we betrayed you. Black queen, forgive us for the times that we played you. Queen, forgive us for the times that we raped you. Queen, forgive us for the times that we slaved you. Queen, forgive us for the times we didn't save you. Queen, forgive us for the times we tried to break you. Queen, forgive us for the times we enslaved you. Queen, forgive us for the times we disobeyed you.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself.
If you dark skin, brown skin, light skin, a mix, we all African. And they brought us in on the same ships, made us strip, put us in their chains and beat us with their whips. The black woman is the sole reason we exist. My black queen, thank you for giving us birth. My black queen, thank you for letting us nurse. My black queen, thank you for putting us first. My black queen, Thank you for seeing our words, my black queen. Thank you for making it work, my black queen. Thank you for surviving the worst, my black queen. Thank you for healing this hurt, my black queen. Thank you for life on earth.
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Boy, don't you be scary, come and see what it do. Once you take a bite of this forbidden fruit, you will lose yourself.
My black queen. My black queen. My black queen. My black queen.
And ladies and gentlemen, like that, we are back once again. That video almost had me wanting to call my mama and tell her thank you for putting me on this earth. To tell you the truth, because you don't hear too many songs like that out on the radio. You hear, you know, because I know you alluded to it earlier in the show where you hear about drugs and all that stuff. So what inspired you to make that song?
Oh man, I just wanted to just give props to all the black women all around the world. Let them know that they are beautiful, the most beautiful, the smartest, the most important, the most educated. I just want to let them know that they the best and they are appreciated, you know.
That's cool, because I know it was, I forgot the artist's name. He actually he went on a show, Sway, and he was attempting to do a song, what you just did, and Sway kept saying, well, what about all women? You know, you got Asians, you got white, you got Puerto Ricans, and dude, he stood firm on his square. He was like, we need to appreciate, you know, the black woman. I just chose in my song to appreciate them. I'm not saying that all other women are ugly and all that stuff. I'm just want to praise black women. Have you received any backlash for your song?
No, never. Everybody I know that heard it, they love it. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what type of backlash I would get. You know what I'm saying? Most people, they already know, you know, what I'm about. So I don't know. I would be surprised, honestly, because if they listening to my other songs, you know, that's a current theme. You know, it's just not a fluke. You know, something I just did to be nice. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like that. So
I want to commend you for just taking you giving me a very reminiscent early 90s pro-black hip-hop movement, the Brother X, Klansman, you know, that vibe, that's affecting them. I like how you did kind of taking that genre and, in so many words, you know, revamping it and revitalizing it for the new age.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. Sonically, it sounds like a typical R&B hip hop song that most folk will hear, but actually listening to the content, I compare it to, for me personally, I compare it to David Banner's song "Marry Me" from his and like the hook is, they say I'm an urban myth. They say black men don't exist. Prove me wrong. Won't you marry me? And that whole song is just like on his tip, just saying that there are black men out here that will marry a black woman, will do right by a black woman. We do cherish you. You know, we want to build a life. That's how we was raised. That's what we want at the end of the day.
And so I'm just going to continue off that. I did get a vibe off that jam. I was just like, oh man, you know, you can bump this in the car, you know.
Hey, shouts out to love for the big girl. Shouts out to the love for the big girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, big shout out to Sade. She did her thing, and I truly appreciate you for that, Queen.
So
yes,
my question is this.
Tell her the effort was greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I know it's just the cleavage you were looking at, but nothing else.
Oh
So-
no, it's not.
So
I was listening to her voice first. Then I opened my eyes and was like, "Well, hello, Healthy. You know how to cook."
So my question, speaking of cooking, I was about to aim on that, but where was that video shot? Because it's a lot of history that I was seeing on the walls.
It looked like a
Okay, it
local
was
spot.
shot at a restaurant in Cleveland called Black Wall Street. So they have a lot of pictures and murals of great black men and women, So I felt like it would be the right place to, kind of highlight some of the women like Rosa Parks and Michelle Obama and Oprah and different ones that have accomplished great things.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, because
I took
I was
notice of
really
that as well.
yeah, I was admiring that. I was like, I honestly do want to know where where that shot was. I was like, I gotta ask him about that. But also, I gotta ask, on the one woman that was playing your girlfriend, she had was that catfish that she had on her plate, or was it just me?
Oh, I can't even remember. Honestly, it might have been fish.
I figured it would be me as the fat one on the show. They'd be like, "Yeah, what's that catfish? That looked like it was braised."
I didn't even see the food.
You didn't see
I
the
pay
food?
attention to food. I
Look,
wasn't paying attention to no
Wow.
food. I was like,
Look.
okay, pretty lady talking. I didn't even like look at the table.
because I was sitting there, I was like, man, that's am I the only one that's seeing this? Because I'm a big catfish fan. Okay, I'm from the South myself. BC's from North Carolina. I'm shocked that he didn't catch. I'm shocked that he caught it, but he didn't say anything about it. I had to. I was like, that's catfish right there. Like, oh snap. But so okay, so this is kind of me stepping in Beast's lane when I ask you this question. So when you in the studio, as Jay-Z would say, your Rain Man moment, what inspires you to making these songs? Does it goes back to, to your uncle, or what is going on right now as us as Black people in society? What is your inspiration?
I mean, as far as my actual life, definitely my family's history, my uncle, my great grandfather, that's definitely an inspiration. As far as me, writing a specific song, I may draw inspiration from a book, a movie, different things like that. So the first video that y'all showed, Do Revolutionaries Go to Heaven? At that time, I was living in South Africa. I was staying in the city of Johannesburg. And this was during the pandemic. The neighborhood that I lived in and the neighborhood that the video is shot in is called Maboneng. So it's a very unique place because a lot of rappers, singers, dancers, painters, photographers, producers, people make design clothes and jewelry and things like that. They come to this specific neighborhood each day, and a lot of them live in this neighborhood. So I was blessed, even though everything was locked down, I still had rappers and producers and studios all in my building, even the person to shoot the video. So I wrote, recorded, and I shot the video all in that neighborhood. And each day when I would walk to the grocery store, which was the only thing that was open at that time, I would walk past the murals of Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Nelson Mandela, Harriet Tubman, great people like that. It was very uplifting for me, despite, what was going on around the world with so many people getting sick and losing their lives and not really knowing what was going to happen next. So, I felt like that was an appropriate song that a lot of people could relate to, and it inspired me as well.
Okay.
Wow, I didn't know that was Joburg. I think the last time I was there was 2018. You said you were living there. How long did you live in Johannesburg?
I stayed there a year. I lived there for a year. I had an apartment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well,
did you visit any other places in South Africa?
Yeah, definitely. I've been to South Africa 5 or 6 times. I've been to maybe almost 20 African countries. I'm in Africa all the time. I've been to Durban, Johannesburg, Cape Town, Pretoria,
Okay, yeah, we went to all those places, but my very
Oh,
first
okay.
time that I was in South Africa was in 1997,
Wow. Okay.
and I just want to ask your experience the first time that you went, because I know each time has its own personality, each time has its own spirit. But the very first time that I went to South Africa, we were riding the great Karoo Express. That train went from Pretoria down to Cape Town.
Hmm.
And riding that train, I just felt the presence of God, looking at all of the various mountains and all of that land. It was just so beautiful. It was just God's majesty. And then I had the opportunity. I stayed in oh my God. I was in Cape Town. What is it? Greenpoint. Oh my God, I can't even Sea Point. I stayed at Sea Point. And the apartment that I had, I was nestled between the ocean and the mountains. And it was
Hmm.
just an awesome view. So no matter where you looked out, you were seeing just the majesty of God. And so what was your first feeling or thought when you landed in South Africa?
Well, I can say I had a lot of preconceived notions before I went to Africa, like many of us do. The first time I went to Cape Town was maybe 2013. So when I tried to look up and Google different things about South Africa, it was always negative. It was violence, it was murder, it was rape, disease. That's all I could find, at that time. Um,
Yes.
but I knew somebody that lived there and they had invited me, to come visit them. And then when I got there, I was really blown away because the people were very beautiful. Like you say, beautiful landscapes,
Yes.
beautiful beaches, beautiful animals. They got the big five, they got lions, they got penguins, they got everything in their malls. The malls are better than the malls that we have in Cleveland.
Oh my
They
God.
had,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh
they got
wow.
casinos
Victoria.
and
Yeah, Victoria's
yeah,
Mall. That's the hugest mall I've ever seen.
Oh
and the
wow.
people, they was
You
just
got a
super friendly.
casino in the mall. Jesus, they don't want you to
Yes.
ever leave.
Anything. It's like a little city. Well, a big city actually. The last time I was in Santon, they took us to what? The Monte Cristo Casino.
Yeah, Santon is real built up. Like they would never show you that on TV. Santon is really built up. I'm telling you. You wouldn't believe, you
Mhm.
see Bentleys and BMWs and Benzes. They got iPhones. They got BT, MTV. You wouldn't think that all of these things they would have access to in Africa. Cape Town is kind of like LA. It's like a African version of LA or something like that.
It
Hmm.
is. It is. Do you know Anthony Morgan?
No, who is that?
Anthony Morgan, he is the producer for South Africa's Idol.
Mm,
And I met him, I think, in 2013. And we were talking about doing what's called an ambassadors tour, where we would take A-list artists, B-list artists, and Z-list artists, which were the
See
local
this.
artists, to every country, sort of like Motown, and we would popularize the artist by going from country to country to country, and we called that the ambassadors tour. But that's still a brainchild. We haven't pulled it together yet. But he used to produce Brian McKnight, and somebody else, I can't remember. But he moved to South Africa and he just blew up the music business there. And he actually explained to me the difference between the music business in the United States and the music business in South Africa and how the money is made differently. But he's one of the key people that I keep in contact with when it comes to any type of festivals and concerts and things like that. And he's my go-to person for that A-list.
Oh wow, yeah, it sounds like you're doing some amazing things. I watched a documentary about African Americans that moved to South Africa, and a lot of them they're doing extremely well. Most African Americans, when they move to Africa, man, they open up businesses and different things like that. A lot of them they're doing real good.
It's
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
That's nice to hear. That's
That's
very
hopeful.
very nice to hear. Yeah, very.
So as
Go
an
ahead.
I'm going to heap this title upon you. I'm quite sure it's been heaped upon you before, but as an ambassador of travel, what do you hope when you take your people on tour? What is the single thing that you hope that they gain from the experience of going to Africa?
Man, there's so many things that they gain. I mean, that's a life-changing experience, but I really attempt to clear up a lot of misconceptions that people have about Africa, the continent, and African people, in general. The number one thing is fear. Like I said, a lot of times the things that we see about Africa is very dangerous and very violent, but it's almost 60 countries in Africa. Africa has more countries than any other continent. Africa is the most diverse continent, so it's just so much to see and so much to learn. Just imagine going from New York to LA, how different it is, or going to Mexico or Haiti or,
Mhm.
Dominican Republic is very different. Africa is 10 times more diverse than that. South Africa alone, they have 10, 11 official languages. So you got people that can speak 3, 4 different languages or more, or 10, you know what I'm saying? Ethiopia is over 80 different ethnic groups, you know what I'm saying? So it's so much to see and learn. Each tour kind of
Oh man.
focuses on different things. So if we go to Egypt, we kind of dive more into the ancient African history. 5,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. So they could see the Red Pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, the Step Pyramid, the Pyramids of Giza, the Sphinx, the Valley of the Kings, the Valley of the Queens, Hatshepsut's Temple, things like that. But then we go to Ghana also, we learn about the transatlantic slave trade. We go to the slave dungeons, the slave ports. We go into the Ashanti region. We learn about the Kente cloth. We learn about the Adinkra printing. And we also learn about the Africans that fought to end slavery. They don't really talk about that, the battles and the wars and
Exactly.
the things that they
Yes.
went through, to try to save us and help us and different things like that. And definitely when we go to South Africa, we learn about apartheid, Nelson Mandela. We learn about the Zulu. We learn about the Xhosa tribe and different things like that.
Yeah, I got a
Absolutely.
quick question. You said Ethiopia was the one that got 80 different ethnic groups.
It's 80. Yeah, 80 different ethnic groups. There's countries with more than that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
just for future reference, if you know those offhand, can you let me know so I visit them last? Because when you said
you visited them.
80, when you said 80 distinct groups, all I heard was 80 different tongues, and my ear for accents just got annoyed.
I mean, but I'm telling you, you gonna enjoy it. The more the merrier, because you gonna see these beautiful people.
Like, I'm geeky, so I understand hearing some crazy things. I got cousins that make no sense whatsoever and make Mushmouth from Fat Albert sound eloquent. Nonetheless, that's a lot of different look. I ain't saying I ain't gonna have fun. I'm just saying I ain't really gonna be talking to a whole bunch of people
But
for the first time. I'm just gonna observe.
I'll tell you like this. Sometimes words are not needed.
That's why I said I'm just going to observe.
No, but
I'm gonna see how much talking I can do without saying that.
One of the things when you go to these countries, you're going to encounter individuals that speak English and will be able to be the interpreter for you. And so you really, part of the experience is the foreign language, is being that barrier and breaking down that barrier. That is the challenge. And I think I said it on the last show or show before last, that when I was in Tanzania and I was giving my lecture, that it was the first time that I gave a lecture on a foreign soil that my language, my English was translated into an African language. I'm used to my language being transferred. I'm translated into French or Portuguese, Spanish or German, or even Arabic. But I've never had my language translated into an African language. And that just felt so empowering to me, to be in a country to have my English or the Queen's English, somebody else's English, translated into a native language. To me, that was beautiful. That's wholesome. But that's part of the experience, is looking at a person that look like Pookie down the street, and you go to speak to them, and they say no English.
Okay, well, yeah, I embrace that. I embrace that part. I guess, for me, I got the experience going to Japan as a kid by doing martial arts, whatever, and they have like a love for anime and games. But as a result of doing that, I end up picking up a little Mandarin and realizing that Mandarin is pretty much like old English for us. It's the base for everything else, but they're so similar. There's only a slight inflection in the of the word, or a slight emphasis on certain letters and phrasings that really distinguish multiple words and actual languages. Like ni hao and ni hao spelled the same. One is Mandarin, one is Japanese, just depending on how the inflection of it. So that's my mindset when I hear like 80 different, the cultures and the languages, I embrace that. It's just making sure you really understand, like you say, being knowledgeable going into it, knowing that a slight inflection, same way folk from South Carolina don't sound like folk from Tennessee, it'll be on a grander scale over there.
But any country you go to, you're going to encounter multiple languages. I mean, Nigeria has over 250 languages, so it's just unavoidable. But one thing,
speaking for the average Black person, we didn't even know there was that many languages.
Yeah, but one thing that you do when you hear them, when you hear the languages, and I tell every audience this, especially if it's an African audience and they know their mother tongue, the thing that I encourage them to do is this: when you speak your native tongue, we in the diaspora, we get to hear the voice of our ancestors. It is a way to connect. It's a powerful way to connect. And even, I think I even told you one time on this show that I had a show at OSU, and I did not permit any English or French to be spoken in the show, but only the African language. And the lady was singing the song, and everybody in the auditorium, was about 300 people, jumped on their feet and had that Holy Ghost type moment. Mm-hmm. And everybody just got excited and started dancing in the aisles. It was not until after I asked her what was her song about, she said she was singing about brotherhood and unity. So even though she was singing in Fulani, so even though there was 13 different African nations represented at this particular meeting, only her and the guy playing the instrument spoke Fulani. Everybody else spoke either a different African language, no African language at all. But it was, the common thread was that she spoke that African tongue, and our spirits understood what she said. Not understanding with our brain or hearing it with our ears, we heard it within our spirit. So that's how powerful language is. And that's why I encourage all Africans to speak their mother tongue. And I encourage those in the diaspora to learn an African language. even if it's just hello and goodbye. Thank you, or excuse me.
And speaking of that, are we gonna get any more music? Are you currently working on some more material?
Yeah, I'm definitely always working. I've been writing, man, like a madman. I don't at least wrote about 50 songs in the last month, but I'm gonna put maybe like a mixtape or something out like that, definitely maybe towards the end of the year, because my main focus is really just promoting the book right now. And then
Mhm.
maybe in the next year or two, I'll probably do a documentary, because a lot of the interviews and conversations that I had with some of the elders, I was able to film them, with their permission. So, the book, if you read the book, you'll kind of see that a lot of these people, they may have been teenagers, they may have been young adults, so you see the pictures, but then if you watch the documentary, you'll notice, they're elders now, they're grandparents, great grandparents, so I want to give them a chance to let their voice be heard, and you can see their facial expressions and, things like that.
Which you will find on campcleveland.org, which I got at the bottom of the screen as well. Also, you can order the book, The Afro Set, on campcleveland.org. Now, to be fair, then we're going to shift to different gears. We did had a person who had a documentary on this show, and let's just say it didn't go as well. But you know what? But in honor of that, when you put that documentary out, please let us know, and we will watch it. And then we would love to have you on the show, either for the documentary or for more of your music and other material. So I just want to extend that invitation to you that whenever you want to come on this show, you are always welcome.
Thank you so much. I truly
Mhm.
appreciate y'all. This has been a great experience. I'm so happy.
All right. So now you're about to get to a full as I switch it up, bring it right here. So on one of your videos, you had Black Lives Matter. And that has been a topic on this show, definitely with all the police brutality that is going on. So I want to get your take on what's been happening in America. What is your take on, even after the Derek Chauvin verdict, how do you feel about being a black man or just being black in the society?
Man, I have to be honest with you. My plan and my long-term goal is to move to Africa. That's something that my great grandfather and my uncle and them talked about doing, but they never had the opportunity, because I kind of feel like it's not really a difference between me picking up my cell phone, looking at Instagram and watching an unarmed black man being murdered, from my father watching it on television, or his father picking up a newspaper, black man lynched in Mississippi, black man lynched in Detroit or Cleveland or wherever they was at. You know what I'm saying? I
Body
still
of a
get the
black
same
man
feeling,
drowned.
when I get pulled over by the police. I feel the same way my father felt and his father felt and his father felt, you know what I'm saying? So I think that for me and my future generations, we may have a better chance if we establish something, in Africa. But I know that's not the solution for everybody. So it's good to do like how Marcus Garvey was saying, establish, economical institutions and cooperative economics, so we can take care of our brothers and sisters that do stay back home. They have more leverage in these different countries, and we can create a bridge, or, and still work together. The struggle is going to continue no matter where we go, but it's kind of different when you get on the airline and it's owned by black people. The flight attendants is black. The pilot is black. You get to the airport named after somebody black. You go to the ATM, take the money out. The people on the money is black. The taxi
It's
driver
black.
is black. The
That's
fireman,
right.
the mayor, the president, the
Yes,
police are
yes,
all black people. So that's
yes,
like a 100-pound weight off your back, So
Mhm.
yes.
Mhm.
I agree. So, which country do you think you will settle down into?
man, I don't know. It's hard because Africa has a lot of amazing places. You know what I'm saying? I know people always go to like Ghana or South Africa or, wherever, but man, I don't know. My plan was to try to visit more African countries, before I make my final decision. I like the West Side. I love the East Side. I love the South Side. I haven't been disappointed yet.
Okay, so list off. You said you've been to 60 countries. list for us, and I have a pen and paper. All the countries you visited in Africa.
Oh, okay, I could do that because I'll be forgetting sometime. I'll be like, oh yeah, I did go there. But the African ones I could pretty much remember. Let me see. I've been to South Africa. I've been to Botswana. I've been to Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Madagascar, Seychelles, Comoros, Kenya, Ethiopia, Egypt, Senegal, Cape Verde, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Morocco. I think that's about it, roughly.
Okay, so that's
That's a
15.
world tour.
Okay, right. That's about right.
Okay, that's 15. Ooh. Yeah. So, yeah, I've been to 28 countries.
Oh, wow, that's cool. That's amazing.
And I don't know.
That's great.
That doesn't include the European countries, but I've been to 4 different continents. But it is my desire to go to all 54 countries in Africa. So I'm halfway there. And
Okay.
So I got half more to go. and I, like you, I want to resettle in Africa. And I feel I have to go to all of them before I can make that decision. But I think the things that would drive me the most is the welcoming of the community. In 2016, I was invited to Ghana to be installed as a Queen Mother. And I thought I would find my community there, but I didn't find it there. Even though they had me in high regard, I didn't feel what I needed to actually stay there. And since then, I have 2 other places, 3, the Congo, Angola, or Cameroon. And right now I'm leaning more towards Cameroon. And the reason why I'm leaning towards Cameroon is because I've been dreaming of Cameroon well before I knew anything about Cameroon. And I used to see myself on a mountaintop in this dream. And it wasn't until that I went to my second trip in Cameroon that I seen the mountaintop that I had been dreaming about. And the people there, yes, the people there have really opened up their hearts and arms and everything to me. Even friends have given me gifts that I need to figure out how to get over there and make it happen. One individual actually owns a fully paid for television studio with 2 sets on it. And he doesn't know how to operate it. So it's just sitting there. And so he made me the executive director of it, but it's hard to navigate it from here. So I'm thinking, yes, I'm going to go to Cameroon and have my television studios up and running. I have a full plan on how to get it running. So it's about finding that community, finding where the people will embrace you and you will embrace the people. And because it's so far away from home, if I go out to the supermarket, I want somebody to miss me if I don't come back in 2 hours.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Africa is a long ways away from home. So I want a community to say, hey, where's she at? She's supposed to be back. She said she was going here. I want somebody to look after me and be able to, raise a ruckus if I'm not where I'm supposed to be by the time I'm supposed to get there.
Definitely.
Oh, wow. Beast, you got anything?
How many do you play any instruments? Like aside from writing music, do you have any other musical talents or endeavors?
No, I would love to learn how to play. Once I get settled down, because I'll be moving around so much, I would like to learn how to play some instruments, but I only can write right now.
Oh, okay. Have you ever ghost written for anybody?
No, not yet. Nope, I haven't.
Yeah. You sure Drake ain't give you a sneaky little call or text you, like, hey, you think you make me a new beat? I need a new hook.
Right. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm open to it. I'm open to it for sure. Maybe one day.
He said, I want you to talk about. Go ahead, teach.
How long have you been doing the tours to Africa?
I've been doing the educational tours maybe like the last 3 or 4 years. It's been going pretty good. I usually take small groups. I've taken middle school students, college students, high school students, elders,
Mhm.
young adults, but it's usually like small groups. But it was going good. The pandemic kind of slowed me down, but I've been able to, still move around since then. So.
Yeah, the pandemic really slowed everyone down. But we went to Tanzania last year and it was awesome. I was so glad that I went because, and you'll attest to this. I mean, the atmosphere in Africa is just not the atmosphere that you have in the States. The first thing when you step off that plane, it's like all the stress of America it's just left there in America, and it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful atmosphere. I think someone posted that Senegal has the cultural music. I think they're talking about the high life.
Oh yeah, Senegal was amazing. Yeah, definitely. Very beautiful, friendly people. Beautiful place. Good food.
Yeah, they have the best jollof rice. Yeah, I know that's a jollof rice wars, but jollof is a Wolof word that comes from Senegal.
Right, don't
So they
start
have to have the best rice because they're
Teacher try to make hashtag Fade to Black show a battleground. So for anybody who feel offended, just come on the show. About to start war up on here. But speaking of that, once again, we appreciate you being on the show,
Yes.
Giving us your inspirations, your book, and also your music, and then also what's going on in the world. We'd like to thank you. You're always welcome on this show. Can't wait for that documentary to come on out. So just can't wait. But before you go, it's been a while since I did both of their segments. So as your, I won't say parting gift, you're still going to be with us. Teach is going to give us a travel. Don't need a passport. And ladies and gentlemen who's watching right now, you don't need a passport. As she give us a trip to Africa. Teach if you're ready to do it, if you want to. It's been a while.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, we got a community to go to, Beast community, as he will give us the ins and outs and life lessons from the community. So let's go ahead and jump in. Then after that, we will do our final thought. But once again, thank you for being on the show. And everybody, if you want to order his book or music or both, go to campcleveland.org. Once again, campcleveland.org. This is also going to be up until the show ends. But first, let's get our passports ready. Let's get our shorts. Let's get our shorts, because I know it's hot in Africa. So everybody, get on first class. Get your ticket. Let's go out to Africa. Teach. You are up.
Karibu. Habari gani. I greet you and the Swahili-speaking people of Tanzania. June 7th through the 21st, we are going back to Tanzania. We had such an awesome time the last time for the 4th annual Artisan Conference that the University of Tasuba has asked us to return and do a summer institute. So for 3 weeks, we will be in Tanzania at the Tasuba University giving lectures. I specifically am going to talk about the East African slave trade. And as you see behind me, this actual picture was taken from my classroom at the university. And because the university is on the beach and I'm going to be there for 3 weeks, do you know I have purchased 4 different swimsuits. I'm going to be on the beach every day. Every day the sun shines and it's hot and it's nice. It's just awesome. So if you all have not signed up for the trip, go to African Roots and Heritage Study Travel Group, and you can see the posting there, or you can message me on Facebook at Anita Diop, and I can give you more information. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tanzania, here we come. The Summer Institute is for students of ages 12 years and up. For lay persons, if you're artists, be it music, print, film, the university is fully equipped to produce your work. Also, if you are a professor or a person in the field and you want to experience what we have to offer at a university setting, this is the trip for you. Not only will we be on the campus of Tasuba in Bagamoyo, we'll also go up to Arusha to the university up there. And also, we are going to go to the Serengeti again and see the tigers and lions and hippopotamuses and giraffes and so forth and so on. We're also going to go to Zanzibar and experiences all of the exotic spices that is grown and well known from Zanzibar. It is an awesome experience. East African country, Swahili speaking people, warm people, full of energy, full of life. And the one thing that impressed me the most about Tanzania is that everything was green. I have gone and I have been in the rainforest before, but Tanzania is not considered a rainforest, but my God, it is greater than any rainforest that I've ever been in. Because no matter where you look, something was growing and it was big and it was lush. And the pineapples are the sweetest pineapples you could ever taste. The bananas are the sweetest bananas. The jackfruit is the sweetest jackfruit that you can taste in the world. You know, I have tasted food from West Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, Brazil, Jamaica, Bahamas. I've been everywhere, but the best tasting fruit, I have to say, I've tasted in Tanzania. So come and go with us. Let's get on the beach. Let's soak up some sun. Let's speak Swahili. Kwaheri ya kukuona. Goodbye until we meet again. And the animals are in the Serengeti in the desert. So you get to drive a 4x4 through the desert to see the animals. It's an awesome experience. And one last thing, my daughter and I were talking about seeing a shooting star. If you have ever desired to see a constellation in the Serengeti at night, the constellation seems like it drops down onto the earth and the stars twinkle and they're different colors, things that you just won't even see in America. Yes, you'll see the stars at night, but in the Serengeti, it looks like they're right down on your head. It's just an awesome, awesome experience. So again, Kwaheri ya kukuona. Goodbye until we meet again.
I want to talk about community heritage and community pride and the history. If anybody's learned anything from the young brother we've had on here today, is to definitely go out there and learn and seek that knowledge and inform yourself. For you Christians, he is exhibiting 2 Timothy 2:15, studying to show himself approved unto God. And the only way you study is by putting yourself in front of any form of information and knowledge that presents itself to you. Now, from a community standpoint, that just really means learn more about the areas you grew up around. You know, for my city, we always had a main strip called Lee Street. I always been Lee Street my entire life. But it wasn't until the Confederate flag issues in South Carolina that my city decided to change it. And that's when the residents actually figured out that, oh shit, this street was most likely named after Robert E. Lee, racist cunt of the Confederation. But they didn't make a big deal about it. They just changed it and went on about their business. We found out a little history about our town. Also, you know, for those that know about the HBCs, you have A&T, but you also have the all-female HBCU of Bennett, and they were actually pivotal to the Woolworth sit-in. And had not been for them actually doing the groundwork and all the necessary planning, the A&T brothers wouldn't have a structure to walk in with the sound resolution. So they are just as important to the movement as A&T was, but a lot of folks don't know that. But you know, you learn that within your community. So you'll just be really understanding how impactful your little city or your little area really is to the grand scheme of things, and how there might have been a deeper history that was unbeknownst to you. Me personally, I just found out the city of Durham, which is like 45 minutes up the street from me, that was a black town. That started off as Black Wall Street. I never knew that. You know, I have more knowledge of my state, but I also have more pride in my peoples to know that that was something that was accomplished here as well. I have more pride in my statewide community. So it's only when we educate ourselves and really put ourselves out there to get that information and ignore all previous assumptions, presumptions, and preconceived notions that we really get a better understanding and a better sense of pride and love for our community and those individuals that dwell within it. So feel free to go check out the local rec center. You might find out it was designed by the first Black person, or it might be something Black affiliated that gives it historical value. Just never know. I hope you enjoyed coming by on the community. Hope you enjoyed the show overall. Hope you was entertained, enlightened, and informed. Just give me a call when you want to come on by. I'll holler at y'all. Y'all be easy. Y'all be safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, another great show. I just hate ending shows like this because I want to continue to last, but we got lives that we gotta live, we got things we gotta do, and all sorts of stuff. First of all, I'd like to thank our guests for being on the show. Thank him for bringing his work, bring his insight, his inspirations. And for anybody who enjoyed any of his work and y'all want to order his book, it is right here at the bottom as I'm looking right down right now. It is campcleveland.org. Once again, campcleveland.org. And also, I'd like to thank Trouble Popcorn for sponsoring the whole show. Thank you so very, very much. This is what this show is about. The issue is everybody wants to go on ET, or they want to go on Good Morning America. They want to go on MTV. They want to do all these things, but they don't look at shows like these that appreciate them. We encourage y'all to come on here. You don't have to always be on these platforms just to get known. Because there's a difference between wanting to be famous and then getting loved by the people that love you. I'd rather be with the people that loves me, that knows my music, that enjoys my material, that enjoys my show, than me just being the flavor of the month or the flavor of the day, my 15 minutes of fame. This is what hashtag Fade to Black is. Yes, we talk about Black issues, but we know we got some brothers and sisters, like our guests, that we know that needs to be known and that we need to be showing our attention to and showing our love to. That is definitely reciprocating that love back to us. And it may not just be music. It could be doing what we're doing right here, having their own show. Could be them starting a book club, having the books or whatever. On this platform, you will be loved. You will be respected. You're not going to have critics after the show like, who is this guy? Or who is this girl? Now I got to do my research. Rather than come on the show with people that already know who you are or have an idea of who you are. That we're not just researching to figure out who you are, but wanting to know more about you and what makes you tick, what drives you to do your work, what wakes you up every day that makes me wake up every day to look forward to new material from you. This is what this show is about. In the words of Martin Lawrence, go run and tell that. We want y'all to come on this show. We want y'all to let us know what y'all do, what inspires you. Why should people just go to this website, once again, campcleveland.org, or to your personal website on why we should support you? All love here. Don't sit there and try to struggle just to get on the show when you're already welcome on this one that already loves you. Once again, I'd like to thank our guests and also you for watching, as well as Cheddar Boy Popcorn and also the panel. And with that, I yield the floor to our guests. Once again, thank you for being on.
Oh man, thank you. It was truly an honor. This was a great episode, and I'll definitely be tuning in for more episodes. I want to shout out everybody out there for listening. Thank you so much for the support. That's it. If you got any questions or need to reach out to me, you can follow me on social media, Camp Cleveland. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, or you can check out the website, campcleveland.org. Peace.
Wow. Controlling the narrative. This is what I'm talking about. Empowering yourself to tell your own story. Empowering yourself to create a legacy and leave a legacy. I want to give a shout out to Uncle Buster for being the force that he was that created the Afro set and all of his works. I'm very excited to order the book to read in detail about Uncle Buster. And it just really does my heart good to see the youth knowing the importance of controlling the narrative. And I just applaud your efforts and the many platforms that you're on to bring forth that message. And I hope that more young people are inspired by you to also look into their family history, find their Uncle Buster, Aunt Esther, that really made a difference in their household and in their greater community, in their cities. There's a lot of history that can be uncovered if you just look. And I just want to say to Beast, for your city or the city of Durham, right after the Civil War and Reconstruction, Durham was labeled the hands-off city. And the reason why it was called the hands-off city is because the KKK had formed, and they were going on their campaign of redemption, which means that they were antagonizing, burning down, killing, maiming, and destroying Black towns. So the mayor or the governor said, let's leave the Negroes to themselves. Let not any white vigilante group do anything to deter the building of this city. It's an all-Black town, hands off, keep your hands off. So there was a proclamation that went out over that city that whites could not interfere. They could not have redemption. And if you understand redemption was simply a religious word that was utilized by the Ku Klux Klan to, in their minds, take back what belonged to them. And that meant to burn, to kill, to destroy, run out any Black person, any town that they felt that they wanted. So they said hands off. So that's the history of Durham. So look it up. You'll find out it was hands off. And all right, and that's it. I want everybody to live and be alive. And when I say be alive, control the narrative of your life. Control the narrative by putting out positive energy, creating legacies that other people can take hold of and become inspired. And with that, I say Basuba, which means good night in Wola.
For my final thought, I just want to give thanks to the guests for coming out. As a fellow artist, I want to give praise for his music. I also want to give him his roses for finding his lane when it comes to speaking on necessary and somewhat taboo topics, or topics that will rub the status quo the wrong way. As someone that kind of takes pride in talking about stuff that others won't talk about in a manner that you can understand, I definitely respect the hustle of the young man and the talent that he possesses. And I just want to give him his praise, because as Black folk, we only want to praise you once you put on, so we can say, oh, I knew him when he wasn't nothing. Or when you finally go home to Jesus, then we got to give your praises then. Nah. If you're doing something positive, if you out here trying to actually make a better impact, then you deserve roses. You deserve that praise. We ain't talking about nothing grandiose, but definitely need to acknowledge folk when they're doing right. Because in the world built to do wrong, it is very hard to do right. Sometimes that little bit of acknowledgement of your effort can help someone fight the good fight for another day. Or even help them take it to a level that they didn't know they could. Just that last little bit of encouragement that helps them fully power up. So, once again, thank you to the man for coming out here. Love the visuals, love the music. More than welcome to come back when you got the documentary, because I definitely want to see it myself. And I hope everyone enjoyed the show. And I yield the floor.
Hey, I don't know why I keep on saying, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even come on screen yet, but like, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for tuning in. As for our guests, for Beast, for, I don't know why Superway's coming to my mind. Superway, wish you nothing but the best. Hope everything goes great with you in the Olympics. For Teach, I really don't want this. I really honestly don't want this show to end. But for anything, if y'all want to order anything from this man, it's at the bottom. CampCleveland.org. Once again, CampCleveland.org. Like I said, I send the invitation to you. Come on the show anytime you want to. You are always welcome here. And as for me, your host, Donnell Martin Morris, this has been another edition of #Fade2Black. Y'all have a good one. Friday, we could be pushing it, but I will let my panelists know if we're going to have a show on Friday. Y'all have a good one. Thank you so very, very much. Catch y'all later.
Thank you, Keith.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Y'all be easy.
Thanks.
Y'all have a good one. Catch y'all
Everybody
later.
have a good night.
Remember, stay safe. Bye.